starting the Zoom recording. And we're going to get ready to press record. Getting ready for the clap.
Hello there, I'm Gail Carriger.
And I'm Piper J. Drake.
And you're listening to 20-Minute Delay,
a podcast about travel.
Because travel never goes how you expect.
And neither does recording when you're trying to include new technology.
Yes, we were trying to do video, everybody. And we were trying to do a live video, and it didn't go great. So now we're just doing
didn't go great.
No, it didn't. But now we are here. Hi, we are in regular video for those watching rather than just listening. But to our regular listeners, guess what? We're back. Oh my God!
Hooray! So we're back. Where have we been?
Where have we been? That is the question. That is the question. But first, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about?
Oh gosh, I went out of order. It's been a while. We've missed you all so much. So today we're going to talk about turning your travel bag into a go bag and why you might need a go bag.
Yes, and a go bag is what you need if you are, I don't know, on the run or after a diamond heist or possibly...
Look at you with the diamond heist. I think I would personally be a sapphire heist kind of lady.
Okay, fine. Emerald heist for me. Anyway, so we were on the run from an emerald heist, or you need to move out of town quickly because the fires are coming, as nearly happened to me last summer. Or perhaps you need to get really quickly to a dear friend or acquaintance who needs your help for medical reasons. So what I recommended we talk about today was that we talk about how to take your regular kits, which hopefully you all have now for packing, and then and turn that into a go bag. But first, where have we been, Piper? Where have we been? Where have we not been?
Let's talk about where we have been from a podcast perspective, as opposed to all of the different places. So we have experienced major technical difficulties beyond today's attempt at a Facebook Live, beyond the attempt to add video for those who might like to see us while we're recording our episodes. Our technical difficulty was we had some real trouble finding a sound engineer who could edit our audio. So we have a bunch of backlog episodes that we recorded last year, but no sound engineer to pull that together and clean it up so that you, dear listeners, could actually listen to them on the podcast.
Yeah.
So that's where we've been.
That's where we've been. So the nitty gritty of the behind the scenes is that Piper and I both really love audio. That's why one of the reasons we started doing a podcast together. But we also really wanted the audio quality to be good. And so what we do is we record on separate tracks. So unlike some podcasts, and that's just because it stops us from talking over each other and any like other major errors. And it gives us a clean voice recording, but it means we need to find somebody who can combine the two tracks together, and that's kind of been, and then clean up the audio and make us sound smarter and stuff.
Oh, I don't know. You're quite intelligent. It doesn't take much to make us sound smarter, but they do clip out some of those points where we like lose our minds and both stare at each other and go,
what were we talking about? What? Although now, if in video, you're going to have complete evidence of that forever and ever.
It's going to be the raw. It's going to be the raw. So you get to see us, and you get to see us looking at each other, waving our hands around as we're saying the things.
I have something to say next.
Yes, and you can even see Gail's her dead cat, her little fluffy thing over her microphone in the corner of her screen.
Yes, right. My little tribble, I have a little puffy tribble to record me, so it makes the ambient noise, makes everything better. Tribbles make everything better.
Mine is just below
apparently.
the screen. So those of you who are watching the video are going to see it come up. And of course, our new sound engineer is going to yell at me for moving the mic.
Sorry.
So, whoopsie. So that's where we've been. Now, our intent is really to be able to bring 20-minute delay back to you, because a lot of you have told us you missed us. And we were like, we miss you too. We miss each other. We miss you. Um,
Yes.
so we're coming back, but we're also very, very cognizant that almost all of us are shelter in place right now.
Yep.
So we're
Many
gonna try
people
to
around the world, including both of us, are shelter in place right now. So we're actually not traveling at all.
exactly, but we can talk about topics related and also give you some of those backlog travel episodes so you can hear about our travel hijinks last year.
Yes.
Keeping in mind that they were last year. And just think about a day when we will be able to travel again happily and see the
Yes.
people we love as we
Yes.
go. All
Yeah.
right.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's
So
talk about this travel bag into a go bag thing.
yes, here we go.
Yes. So travel bags
Travel bags.
into a go
All
bag.
right. So we've talked quite a bit in the past about kit packing, which Piper and I are both really big fans of, which essentially just means you have modular kits that are designed for different zones in the hotel room that you're going to be staying in or wherever it is that you're going to be staying. So, for example, I have a sleep kit bag, which has like any painkillers or nighttime medication I might be taking, and also uh, my eye mask and fuzzy socks, which I wear to bed because my feet are always cold, and earplugs and things like that, and any sleeping pills. If I'm traveling overseas, I take sleeping pills to deal with the jet lag. So that all lives in one specific kit. It also has a spare set of reading glasses in it. And then everybody has like a toiletry kit or a 2-1 bag, which has all your fluids and stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
And these kits, when you travel, they go in specific places. At least, I have one next to my bed, one in the bathroom, so on and so forth.
Yeah, we kind of spread out when we get to wherever our destination is.
Precisely. Well, the beautiful thing about, and again, I think we've talked about this as well, as to whether when you get home you refill your kit or not. So what I usually do is I don't refill my kits. I just take everything out and wash what needs to be washed and replace what needs to be replaced. But I don't like refill my toiletries or anything. I wait until I have another trip.
Okay.
And this is how it is different for a go bag. When you're facing up to a disaster or you have an imminent disaster, or if you live in a part of the world where you're prone to regular disasters, like perhaps a hurricane or something like that, I think it behooves you to make it so that when you get home from a trip, you immediately do a refill. Is that how you travel, Piper? Do you do a
Yes.
restock when you get back?
So when I'm traveling normally, I would do what you do, which is not refill my toiletry kits and stuff until just before I'm about to leave again. And I only just top off the stuff that needs to be topped off, right? But
Exactly.
a go bag, the whole point behind a go bag is that it is an emergency. The first time I ever packed a go bag personally, I was actually the planned driver for a friend who was very like reaching the end of her pregnancy. And so we had her go bag and mine in my office at work, at day job. And should she go into labor, I would grab both go bags, put them in my car, and drive her to the hospital and stay with her until her husband could join us because he didn't work in our office. And she had a separate go bag that she had at home. So those of you who may have had children or been part of a family where you were the person responsible for driving your companion, if they end up going into labor, may be familiar with a go bag for that particular reason. And it was kind of
Yeah.
funny because my go bag actually had his pajamas in it because the point was that I would drive there and wait for daddy to get there and then leave.
Yeah.
But I would just assume that he would have like left work in a rush, in a flutter, and just come not thinking. Um, in other cases, I do currently have a go bag now that is separate from my travel kit because my partner Matthew, producer Matthew, um, is military, and so I have an apocalypse kit. Basically,
Basically.
should some other type of emergency situation in a city happen under the bed, we have a go bag that I can literally grab and go, and that is pre-packed. So toiletries and stuff there are pre-packed, and what we do is we check them once a quarter to make sure stuff hasn't gone bad or dried out. But yeah, so a go bag does need a different kind of mentality behind it because it should be ready in the case that you have to like roll out of bed, grab it, and head out. Like, so yeah, the fires in California or the fires in Washington State would be good examples of when you might need a go bag. And my go bag contains Corbin, our dog's stuff as well. Like,
well, okay, so let's pause for just a second.
Yeah.
So in this particular situation, the go bag is, for me at least, is because I might need to go and take care of one of my parents, to be quite honest with everybody. I am the only child and I'm the primary care person that they can call upon. So so in this particular instance, it's not the same kind of thing as a natural emergency. So it makes sense for me under those circumstances to essentially pack a go bag as if I'm going to stay with my parents, essentially, one of my parents. And so it's a little bit more like a going to stay in a hotel or at a cabin sort of situation. So what I have essentially is just rebooted all of my kits for travel with the idea in mind that what I'm going to have to do is take a trip spontaneously at any moment. And so and that's getting back to sort of the topic of the discussion. That's kind of what I mean by prepping a go bag out of your regular kits. So
and this is much more applicable than my crazy military partner go bag thing.
We can talk about flood, fire, and zombie apocalypse, like as an addendum, because there's a different prep for that kind of prepper, shall we say? But just in this particular instance, so my recommendation is just like right now we're all shelter in place, so theoretically we just have to stay here. So what I would recommend if you're in my situation, which is we technically have to stay in place unless you have to run to take care of somebody else who gets sick.
A loved one. Yeah.
A loved one. In which case, having just a bag ready and packed and ready to go will solve your peace of mind when the crisis hits and make you less likely to panic. So if you just fill up all of your toiletries now, get everything ready to go, and pack it up in your suitcase, then or in my case, I have a tote bag that has all of my regular stuff that I would have in a tote on a plane, and then I have a suitcase that is sort of half packed with stuff, and it's sort of half packed with what I would call my scrubbiest of scrubby kind of clothing, you know, stuff that can be washed multiple times and is really just comfortable to hang around the house in, and I can maybe throw a jacket on and do emergency shopping if I have to, kind of deal. You know, like I wouldn't put any of the wipes or medical stuff that you might need in that bag because you might need access to them first. But
Agreed.
You know, half the bag is empty to be filled in with like snacks and food and any other emergency supplies that you can just fill into that top level. So that's kind of go bag I'm sort of thinking about right now.
So I have a story.
Yes, tell me.
So I have a story of something very, very similar to this, where this would have been applicable. And this was a couple of years ago before this current situation, but it's very applicable in the fact that my little sister broke her leg. And she had just had her second child, my second nephew. And so she was still breastfeeding. He was very, very young. She had just broken her leg. Oh my gosh, what do we do? So I flew over there. Like that was one of those emergency situations where she needed help from the family. And again, it's just a regular travel bag. To your point, what I did was I had very comfortable scrubby clothing because I wasn't planning to be on client site or anything. I wasn't planning to be at any author events, so I'm not dressing up in any way. Just really easy, a baby can throw up on me clothing that I don't mind tossing into the wash. And just that was all in my bag, along with taking my kits, like my toiletry kit, my my maintenance kit, like my Save Me kit, which has my medical supplies in it, like my prescriptions, my inhaler, etc. And it's all just one little kit. Threw that in the bag along with all of that comfy clothing. And then one or two, because I was going for my sister, one or two books or manga that I knew she had never read before that aren't in her home that might help distract her.
Good idea.
So that was kind of like a change up, right? Throw it all in. The point was, though, it was carry on because I did have to fly to go to her. You
Yeah.
may be, in your case or in someone else's case, jumping into a car to go meet somebody at the hospital. But either way, it's a very compact travel light situation. Got there, and I was able to just like roll in and assess what needed to be done. Matthew was with me, and he rolled in and he looked around. He has no experience with babies. So his first question was, what room do you need me to clean first? And then he headed into the kitchen
Oh,
and started cleaning the whole kitchen because he was like, I'm useless around the baby, so let me go do something else, right? And I rolled in, and happily, my sister's mother-in-law was there already. So I was like, where do you want us to sleep? And we literally just dropped our bags in the corner of the living room because her mother-in-law was in the guest room. So we're like, that's fine. And that was the other thing, is that we were ready to sleep on the floor or sleep on couches or what have you. So we had like a little extra roll blanket so that nobody had to worry
yes.
about hosting us. We were
Yes.
there to help my sister.
Yes. Yeah. I have I believe this has been a gadget pick for me in the past, which I have a silk sleep sack, which is a twin size. Basically, it's a twin size sheet folded in half that you can kind of climb inside of, like it's a sleeping bag, but it's made of silk and it's just very, very light. And you can also use it as a scarf, as a whole bunch of other things. And that is currently in my go bag, as well as taking up quite a bit of room, but trust me, vitally necessary, a pillow, which I have very particular pillow requirements. And if I can travel with a pillow, which in this case I can because I would be driving, I will travel with a pillow. But that's the thing to think about when you're packing a go bag for an emergency situation, rather than, say, a time when you're going to travel. So an emergency situation where you might be driving to get away from something or driving to get to somebody for a hospital visit or what have you, is you do have the luxury of putting another couple of things in there. And if you have those things just lying around or in storage, you might as well stick them in now. If it's a extra camping gear that you have kind of situation, you can get all that together in a big plastic tub in storage, and then all you have to do is grab the tub. Right there are things that you
And throw
can
it in the
do
back of
that
your car.
exactly. There are things that you can do to sort of get prepped now to make it just so much easier on yourself when the situation actually descends, so that so you can worry about other things that you really need to worry about, rather than have I packed enough socks, right?
And you don't
So
have to worry about forgetting something. Like, one of the worst things in an emergency like that, like when I got the call about my sister and her broken leg, was I didn't want to run around in circles in my house trying to remember all the things that I need and then worry about forgetting it. I just grabbed the bag and
exactly.
left.
Yeah, it's
And
such a relief to have it ready right there.
yeah,
Which brings us to like a more disaster situation. So if you have a hurricane, an earthquake possibility, or a tidal
fire.
wave, which is what I used to get as a kid, or fire, that's a different set of things you need for a go bag. So, and there are some very good comprehensive lists on the internet that you can go look up, and that includes like very important paper documentation, like insurance and all that, and birth certificates and all that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
that's a whole other podcast and probably not something in our wheelhouse, but definitely, there are prepared lists that you should look up and have a checklist ready to go. But most of the time with those sorts of big crises, the zombie apocalypse level of crises, you do have a little bit of time to get that list together and get it all organized. Which is
Incidentally,
kind of
I'm going to share with all of you that Gail and I were discussing the zombie apocalypse and the fact that I probably no longer qualify as the first round survivors. And because I'm
no.
just too reliant on modern medicine.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
too
I have to
broken, my
say
friends.
I'm a pretty fragile person, and I've always assumed that I was gonna not make it. I was like, I'll be your food source. I'm fine.
It's going to
That's fine.
happen. I
It's
forgive
gonna
you.
happen.
Neither of
But
us is on the front line for surviving the
no,
zombie apocalypse.
no.
Nope.
Sorry, everybody. Morbidity. But there it is. But this is a different situation right now.
Yes.
And I think both of us believe that you can be prepared for it. So,
Agreed.
and you can use the kits that hopefully you've already got going because of previous episodes of 30-minute delay to be prepared for it. So gather them
Exactly.
all together, pack as if you were going to go on a trip, and just have that bag ready for yourself in case you need it. And it'll probably make you feel just a little bit better and a little bit less anxious about everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about technologies
Gadget
related to
pick,
this. What's a
gadget
gadget pick?
pick. pick of the week. Here we go.
What gadget
All
pick would you
right.
put into your go bag?
All right. So this is going to be a really funny one for me, but I'm going to pick it anyway, which is I keep a pair of my favorite sort of slouchy jogger comfy pants, whether that's leggings with pockets, it has to have pockets, or
Mhm.
whether it's joggers with pockets or sweatpants or of pockets, whatever it is. And I actually was about to throw these away because I was like, oh, they're stained and old and pilly and sad. And then I thought, oh no, what I will do is I'll put them in my go bag because they're the perfect, like, rough and ready thing. You know, it's the kind of thing I would turn into a project pants for painting or, you know, something like that, or cleaning the house or cleaning the basement or something. But it's perfect for this kind of situation. And then I extracted 3 t-shirts that were kind of in a similar thing. Like, t-shirts have a life cycle. You wear them, then you wear them to exercise in, and you wear them to sleep in, and then they're rags. Right before they're rags, what you can do is stick them in your go bag. So I have just one pair of slouchy comfortable pants that serves every need. I could sleep in them, or I could clean the house in them. And then 3 spare t-shirts. And basically that's like my pajama-esque thing. That's my pick, is just before you donate something to Goodwill or think about turning something into rags or think about, you know, the end of the life of a piece of clothing. If it's something that's really comfortable and you could spend, you know, a couple days in it taking care of somebody or running from the zombies, then stick those in your go bag for now. And then, you know, you at least have one super comfortable, scrummy piece of clothing there for you to wear that you love.
Exactly. All right. So my gadget pick is something that I have not tried yet, dear listeners, but I'm interested in. It is actually this new product. What they are is dry swatches, or little, they look like a
Sheets.
little cotton pad, but they're actually soap. And so you just add a couple of drops of water and rub it together, and they foam up. And supposedly, the
And they
particular,
disintegrate,
yeah, they
right?
disintegrate into
They
soap, into
disappear
foam.
into soap.
So they're completely clean. Theoretically, they save you on plastic, they save on packaging, and it's just lets you lift out the swatch, get it wet, rub it into foam, and rub it all over yourself. So they have, the site that I'm looking at is called EC30 Clean, and they have body wash, they have shampoo, they have conditioner. I'm really curious about it, but I'm also concerned about the price point, because while they're
Mm.
saying that there's this advantage of less packaging, better for the environment, they claim that it has a very nice scent, and that it lathers up to bring you joy. Literally, the website says bring you joy. And it leaves you moisturized and everything. It's $19 for a box of 30 swatches, what they call
Mm.
swatches. And 30 against 19, it's not quite a dollar per swatch, but that's pretty expensive for soap,
It is. It is.
especially when most of the normal travel in a travel situation would be one where you would, use a bar of soap, which is,
Yeah.
again, not a liquid, would give you a bajillion more washes than that.
Yeah.
So I am I am torn as to whether I want to give this a try.
Are you gonna? Do you know?
Uh, I want to.
Uh,
I'm super curious, but at the same time, like, when I think about the fact that a bar of soap takes up about the same amount of space in your bag, gives you a bajillion more washes, you still need water for it.
yeah.
I'm having a hard time justifying $19 for 30 washes,
Yeah.
right?
I love the idea of it. I really, it's like those little breath tabs they used to get, you know, the little, they
Exactly.
used to go,
It's
but
kind of like the Listerine sheets.
exactly. And I can see that those would be very, very useful camping where, like, weight is a big issue. So
Yes.
you really want to think about that. You know, and we've talked about this before. We use camping gear or camping stuff designed for camping quite a
Yes, we
bit because
do.
it does lighten your carry-on quite a bit. I don't know, like, I almost never travel with my own soap. I travel with shampoo, and if there's no soap provided at the end of the line, I will just use
Just use
shampoo
your
as soap.
shampoo.
And if the hotel provides soap, I just use the hotel soap. I'm not that sensitive to soap, so it's not as big a deal for me. But you'll report back to us and let us know if you do end up using it, right?
I will, absolutely. I may boost the $20 just to see like, because they are saying that they're going to do free shipping at this time, just to see if it's some kind of amazing, luxurious,
Yeah,
not to be
fabulous, delicious
given
smelling.
up.
Yes.
Yeah, and see if it makes it worth it. Then,
Yeah.
maybe.
Maybe.
We'll
All
see.
right. Well, those were our gadget picks. My gadget pick wasn't really a gadget at all. It was just to consider the end lifetime of some of your favorite clothing and maybe stick a few things instead of taking them directly to Goodwill or turning them into rags, to stick them into your go bag, because you'll be excited to see them there, old favorites, when you end up at your end destination. And Piper's pick were these new little swatches of soap that disintegrate and turn into suds in your hands. And they are called, Piper?
Well, they're called EC30 is the company, and it's
EC30.
their body wash.
All right.
We'll
and that's it. So if you like us and you're excited to have us back, please leave us an iTunes review. That would be awesome. And we promise not to go on hiatus for such an extremely long period again, barring, of course, flood, famine, or zombie apocalypse.
We'll be posting the video to try to,
We
make it a
will.
little bit happier.
Yeah, you can see our faces.
I've been making
shall
some
we do the
faces,
closing?
by the way. Yes, let's do the closing. All right. So thanks to producer Matt for putting together this podcast.
Thanks to John Emilio, who loaned us the music from his song Steampunk Girl. Thanks to I'll take this one. Thanks to the lovely Kelly from Ethernautica, who cleaned up this audio.
And thank you for listening. I took your line.
You took my line. It's okay. We took each other's lines. Please consider leaving us reviews once more. And
this has been Piper J. Drake.
And this has been Gail Carriger. Travel smart.
Pack the snacks.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Let's stop the video, or let's stop the recording.
Oh, that was funny. We tried our best.
We did try our best. We'll see how that goes. That was like all sorts of jacked up, but that was because we forgot to update the closing credits as to how to say that. So then we were switching lines back and forth.
Sorry. I just assumed.
No.
I just assumed Kelly would like us to shout out her podcast, so that's why I did it.
I agree. Let me stop the recording for the video. Yay, Kelly! And
bye, everybody.
That was the video. Bye.